So the transfer window is exciting because of the players that Manchester United will be signing, but of course Jose Mourinho will be selling players as well. What I want to do in this video is explain to you the 8 players in this Manchester United squad that I feel should be sold this summer by Mourinho. I want to know in the comments whether you agree with me or not. So you'll remember that I've done a video previously on who Man United should keep or sell this summer, but in this one, I want to go into a little bit more depth of the 8 players I think Mourinho should sell this summer. Now, first on the list is Sam Johnstone, the young goalkeeper who is, in the last 7 years, he's had 10 loan spells away from the club. He was fantastic for United's under-21s back when it was still the under-21s, but David De Gea's brilliance was a hurdle that he was never going to get over. The route to the first team was blocked by arguably the world's best goalkeeper. Nothing really that Johnstone could do about that. He's had a great couple of years on loan at Aston Villa, and I think he's good enough to play in the Premier League for another club. He'd be a fantastic championship goalkeeper for sure. But for me, and for Johnstone right now, he's got to be moving away for his career because Joel Castro Pereira is ahead of him in the pecking order now, the young Portuguese goalkeeper that Mourinho's taken under his wing. So if you've got him, Romero and De Gea, there's no route to the first team there at all. So Johnstone, you should be leaving. Now, second on my list is Chris Smalling. Now, for me, the Chris Smalling ship has completely sailed. You know, Mourinho is building this team right now to play the type of football required to win the Premier League. You saw what Man City did last year. You look at what Spurs have been doing for the last couple of years. United's style hasn't really properly come through yet. But we're signing players like Fred, who's diminutive, he's ball playing, loves possession football. And Chris Smalling, unfortunately, isn't capable of that. Because if you're looking at the modern day game and the modern day defenders, look at the centre-backs. See someone like Johnstone, who's really come on well under Pep Guardiola. United need a ball-playing centre-back who is comfortable bringing the ball out from the back instead of just hoofing it long to Lukaku. At times that works for United, but in the majority, United need to control possession. And that has to start in defence. And unfortunately for Chris Smalling, that's not the type of defender he will ever be. He's 28, he's not going to get any better than he is. For me, he peaked in his year under Van Gaal, and I just don't think I have the confidence in Smalling, no matter how many purple patches he has, because he does have purple patches. Towards the tail end of last season, he was probably our best defender. I don't care how many goals he's scoring away to Crystal Palace or Bournemouth. I want strong belief in my 2 centre-backs that no matter what happens, they're going to be there and they're going to be assured in their position. The reason we kept so many clean sheets last year was not because Smalling played a blinder, it's because De Gea was the world's best goalkeeper. So for me, this United team to really move on, I think we have to get rid of Chris Smalling. You know, we have moved on all across the pitch when you look at the squad. Yet last season in the FA Cup final, we're still starting Smalling and Jones at centre-back. So much has happened since Fergie retired. But Bailly hasn't properly settled because of injuries. Lindelof didn't settle properly last year. We do have the players in there for a new look centre-back partnership. But for me, Smalling cannot be in that squad next year. And for me, he's got to be sold. Now, as well as the centre-backs being a problem, the full-backs was an issue. And that is exactly why I think now is the time for Ashley Young to leave the club. You know, full-backs were one of United's biggest weakness last year. Valencia, outstanding defensively, poor going forward. Ashley Young, good defensively, poor going forward. And because of that, Man United had no real width because our attackers, who were Sanchez and Lingard and Rashford and Mata, all naturally cut inside. They're not David Beckham, they're not Ryan Giggs. They won't run to the wing and fire a cross in. They're going to cut inside. So we need the width to come from the fullbacks, and it never came from Young because he doesn't do overlapping runs. So you look at Anthony Martial or Alexis Sanchez last year, so often they had 2 defenders on them because we didn't have an overlapping left back that gave them the breathing space to then cut inside because they were distracted by the overlapping left back. Now, Ashley Young just isn't capable of that. At his age, he's a 31-year-old converted right winger. Yes, he's turned into a good left back, but this United team really needs to move forward. And that's why I'm saying let go of Chris Smalling, and that's exactly why I'm saying let go of Ashley Young. You see, Diogo Dalot that's been brought in at right back. He's capable of overlapping. He's capable of crossing. He's capable of skipping past a man. Ashley Young is capable of crossing, but you know, predictably, he's going to feint, cut inside and whip a cross in like that. If you're going to get runners on the end of balls, you need a left back crossing with his left foot early. That's when you're going to get the real damage. And Ashley Young's not capable of that. And that's why I think he should be leaving. You know, Young has been a good player for United. But now is the time for him to move on, for Smalling to move on, for United to really get rid of some of the old guard that are still lingering around and really make this new look United squad new. And that, for me, is why Young has to leave. Now, next on my list is Luke Shaw. Now, this isn't out of my own choice, but I really feel that Luke Shaw, for his own career, has to leave Manchester United this summer. You know, he's had so many setbacks. The start of that season where he had Memphis Depay on the left and it was Shaw, looked like the best partnership on the left flank that United had seen in years. And it was just such a horrific injury away at PSV Eindhoven that Shaw's recovered from, but he's never really been given the full opportunity to establish himself again at left back at United. And even when he has, and he's played good for 4 or 5 games, he then gets dropped as soon as Young is fit again. Mourinho's treatment of Shaw has been questionable to say the least. But what it looks like right now is that Mourinho doesn't like Shaw. Shaw is not going to have a career at United. I am still convinced that if United didn't sign a new left back in the summer, let Ashley Young go, and really gave Luke Shaw a season, that he'd be outstanding. But I just don't think that's going to happen at United. I think Luke Shaw will leave, and I think it'll be one that we all regret massively. But it's Mourinho's decision. Not that I stand by it, but I believe that Shaw, for his own career, should move on this summer. Next on my list is Daley Blind, a player who was signed by Louis van Gaal, a fantastic utility player when he came in and played defensive midfield. He played centre-back, he played left-back, he played left wing-back. Daley Blind was everywhere. The modern-day John O'Shea, if you will. Never a master of any position, and because of that, he's in a weak position now. United have better central midfielders, United have better centre-backs, United have better left-backs than Daley Blind. And because of that, he's hardly played any football last season for Man United. And again, for his own career, he should be moving on. And for United as well, I don't think we're going to be playing Daley Blind in any of those positions because there are better alternatives in every single spot. So for me, Daley Blind, now is the right time to leave United, although I will miss your hair. Now, Matteo Darmian. Fantastic in the Europa League final when we beat Ajax. Fantastic in other games as well. Do you remember the first 6 games when Darmian played? 6-7, I was like, Christ, we might have actually signed the Gary Neville replacement here. He was outstanding. Proper Italian defender, never out of position, but added to the attack as well. Then he played away at Arsenal. We got trounced. He was terrible. I'm not sure he's ever really recovered since. I've got zero faith in Darmian now as a defender. I was at the Bournemouth game last year away, and he got caught out of position like 7, 8, 9 times. Had to be covered so many times. And you're looking at Diogo Dalot, somebody who can play left back, somebody who can play right back, and won't be expecting to start every single game. He's effectively an exact replacement for Matteo Darmian, a 19-year-old who could progress and become a much better defender. So Darmian has no place in the squad anymore. I expect him to be sold, and he absolutely should be sold. Next on my list is Cameron Borthwick-Jackson, who I actually didn't even realise was still at Manchester United. I remember him for coming off the bench against Liverpool at Anfield and not being out of his depth. He was brought through in that string of young players that Van Gaal brought through, like Paddy McNair, Tyler Blackett, Cameron Borthwick-Jackson, so many academy graduates who have gone on to be sold. And Borthwick-Jackson, unfortunately, is not going to be making it at Man United. Otherwise, he would have made it by now. So again, for his own career, now's the right time for Borthwick-Jackson to leave. Now, the final name on my list is probably the first player I want to be sold by Mourinho, and that's Marouane Fellaini. The person who has held Manchester United to ransom has made it clear he's doing so. Just fuck off out the club. You know, Marouane Fellaini, no. I don't know how Man United are being held to ransom by Marouane Fellaini. I can't get my head around that. You know, United are moving on as a club. We signed Fred, as I said, a ball-playing, possession-based, good footballer. We signed Sanchez previous to that. United are buying new players to hopefully bring in a new style of football. And Fellaini is not a part of that. He is a lump. You bring him on for the last 20 minutes when things aren't working. And if you do that, Fellaini's actually an asset to your team. But the problem is that Mourinho started Fellaini in central midfield or in midfield so often that I just hated seeing Fellaini on the team sheet. As soon as Fellaini was on, you knew that there was just going to be a gap in midfield. There wasn't going to be any tempo going forward. He would receive it, pass it to the right, and we'd be playing sideways football. Someone like Fred, who can accelerate and break through the lines, is going to change how United play from midfield. And for me, Fellaini is the biggest symbol of this period between Fergie and Mourinho. Van Gaal, Moyes, the football we've been playing, how United style really hasn't been there anymore. Fellaini is symbolic of that. And I can't wait for him to leave. Because then maybe in the last 20 minutes of games, when United need to score, we'll bring on somebody else. We'll switch to a different style of attacking football. The sort where you just throw everything forward rather than just lumping it forward. That's what we used to do under Fergie. It works so well. But under Mourinho, we have started scoring plenty of late goals. And Fellaini, to his credit, has been an asset at points. But for me, if United really are moving forward as a club, which I think we are with the signings we're making or have made in the last couple of years, Fellaini can play zero part of that. He's holding the club to ransom. He wants to join a rival. Go join Arsenal, mate. Go join Emery in this new era that's going on at Arsenal. Perfect club for you. But for me, ever since I saw that he was holding United to ransom, I washed my hands of Fellaini. I can't wait for him to be sold. And for me, he's first out the door. But they are the 8 players that I think Man United should definitely be selling this summer. You know, as I said, I would keep Luke Shaw if I was manager, but I'm not. For his own career, I think he should be moving on. Do you agree with that? Do you agree with the whole 8? Let me know in the comments below, as always. If you're new, subscribe to United People's TV. Loads of United content here. So make sure you do. Take it easy.